We're not ruling out strikes, but we have not put down any dates for any strike action. We're going to review with our national executive next week, who've been all around the country this week, on the picket line. So we're all going to get together, the leadership of the union, review where we are. We're not going to name dates immediately, and we're going to continue working constructively with the companies to try and get a deal. But that is a really steep challenge at the moment because of the agenda they've got and the effects they want on our members. So strike action's not ruled out, and it will have to take place if we cannot get a deal. But we're hoping that we can get a deal and we can get some compromise. Well, what we try to do is have the most effective strike action if it needs to take place. We're not just pretending. It's got to be a coherent and effective strike action because we don't want to waste our members' energies on something that doesn't work. So we'll review that and see what we need to do if we need to take that action. Well, I think at the heart of this is a guarantee of no compulsory redundancies so that our members can have job security. Then we can work on what the changes they want to make, their proposals, and that we've got to balance that against what our members need, their work-life balance, the way that they're deployed, their working arrangements. So we can get a settlement on that, and then we'll get into what is a reasonable pay deal. But at the minute, what they want to give us in return for what they want from us is not enough. There's not enough value in the deal. And the stuff that they want from us in terms of the way they want our members to work is too challenging at the moment. We haven't made any false claims. The railway last week was down by 80%. That has an effect that we don't particularly want to deploy, and they are losing revenue commercially, and that hurts them, and it hurts our people because they've lost their wages. We don't want that to happen. So if Grant Shapps wants to be constructive, that's what he can do. It's up to him what his disposition is. I'll work with Grant Shapps or anyone else that's got something constructive to say in this dispute. He needs to tone down the rhetoric and get on with his job, which is to settle this dispute. I think their attitude is not constructive, and I think it's preventing us from getting a settlement. And that's because essentially they've cut the funding to the railway, they've cut it to the mainline railway, and they've cut it to the TfL London Underground network. That gives the employers tremendous challenges because they haven't got enough money. But some of the problems in this industry are due to the structure, and the structure of the railway is fragmented. And I think if we had one coherent railway under the control of a national entity, we would be in a far better position. But that's up to him. If he wants to make that logical decision, he can make it. Otherwise, we're going to have to deal with this multitude of employers and multitude of owning groups who are all looking to take profit from the railway while it's being subsidised. That's a contradiction that can't continue, really. I don't think about Grant Shapps very much. I know he's got a colourful history. I know that he's an airline pilot of some description. I know that he's a Conservative politician. He's got a mandate on that basis. If he wants to work with us and meet with us, or just allow his officials to get on with the job in a constructive way, I'm very happy to work with them. Well, I think that is a bit of a problem. They're not using the system that we want, and they've never worked in this type of work. Many of them have not run businesses, but they've also never worked on the tools. As my mother would have said, they've never done a hand's turn. So it's quite odd to be the people that are running this country who were brought up on a diet of learning Latin and Greek, and our members are brought up on a diet of getting up at ungodly times to run the transport system. I think there's a bit of a disconnect there. If we had people that were used to doing work, we might get a better deal out of them. We might get more constructive talk. So we'll speak to whoever is available to speak to. It's not our choice. Well, things have gone really well for us because our members have rallied to the call and have taken the action in the most effective way without any kickback. They're very determined to get a settlement. If we didn't have this mandate of being able to take strike action, we would not have the ability to negotiate as equals, or in a more balanced way at least, at the negotiating table. So it's essential for us as a trade union that we've got that mandate, and I think that's a message for all other groups of workers. If you want to be able to bargain and not beg, you need to be properly organised, and you need to be determined and willing to carry it through. Well, I welcome support. Support for our members bolsters them, and if that comes through my profile, that's the way it is. I'm not particularly interested in that. My job is to get a settlement for our people, to get them a good deal out of this process. And if I get them a good deal and have a much lower profile, I'll be very happy for that to happen.